Peace and blessings. This is Raisa Giwala, the divorced Muslima coach, your host here in our group, the Divorced Muslima Network. And today I'm talking about what kids really need to thrive post-divorce. And we hear so much rhetoric about, staying for the kids. Oh, I need to, many women that I talk to tell me how they stayed so long because of the kids, right? And it didn't help, it didn't work. And so there's this belief and there's this compulsion almost. It's a very compelling belief that I need to stay in whatever type of marriage it is for the sake of the kids, for the benefit of the kids. That rhetoric that plays out in the mind over and over again of, and I know for women it's very common, like, to do whatever it takes to make your marriage work, right? No woman gives up that easily, especially the ones that I've spoken to. So today I want to talk about what is it that harms kids, number one, and what is it that they need to thrive. So the thing that does harm them is the conflict between the mom and the dad. And that can happen whether you're in a marriage or you're not in a marriage. And actually, if it's happening, if the kids are being brought up and being raised in a home where there is lots of conflict between mom and dad, then you're teaching them that you're modeling to them what it means to be in a marriage, what a husband and how a husband and wife interact with each other. So you're normalizing a conflict-filled marriage, number one. And number two, that is the issue. That kids do well when there's safety and security and in a healthy foundation. And so whether you're married or not. So when you're separating and you're divorcing, there's a lot of big feelings that come up, and it's very normal to have conflict when you're separating, right? There's a reason that you're separating, and so a lot of times during the separation, they get magnified, those reasons, right? And so if you're having difficulty in communicating in the marriage, well, you're still going to be required to know how to communicate during the separation and then post, when you're dealing with raising your kids. So the first thing that kids need to not just survive, but we want them to do well. We want them to be able to be resilient, right? And everyone says, oh, kids are resilient. Yeah, but human beings are resilient. You don't want to damage them along the way of their inherent resiliency. And so the first thing that they need is to not be caught in the crossfire of your conflict with your child's other parent. And what does that look like? That means that if there's disagreements, if there's anger, there's hostility, if there's divisiveness, any of those things. Yes, I can hold my little baby. This is my nephew, Isa. My daughter is watching him right now. He's visiting me. And so she's going to go take him on a walk. So I'm here just holding him while she's getting the stroller ready. So, where was I? Okay, them being caught in the crossfire of your conflict. So if there's any, like, whatever hostility is, whatever you're not agreeing on, like, how are you resolving those conflicts? Very easily, number one, kids, especially the older one, they want to step in and they want to solve all the problems. Kids a lot of times blame themselves. So as the parents, it's our responsibility to make sure that we don't just tell them, but we show them that we're not, that when we are not agreeing or we're not seeing eye to eye, we're handling it like mature, responsible adults. So what does that look like? What does that mean? That looks like, and that means is that, are we able to communicate with respect, with kindness, right? Kindness doesn't mean that you're a pushover and then you become this nice person, and that you just allow whatever the other person wants to do or say, right? You don't just give in to everything, but you're able to communicate and express what needs to be communicated and expressed in a way that is respectful, right? A lot of times that goes out the window. Respect, dignity. So if you're finding that you're not able to communicate and interact with your child's other parent in that manner, in that fashion, then guess what? Your child is going to feel it. Your child is going to know it. That automatically puts them in the middle, because it makes them feel like they have to choose sides. So the point here, the takeaway here is really, even if you tell your child you don't share how you feel about the other parent, or you tell them that they don't have to choose, that they're going to have a relationship with both, that you may be saying one thing, but what's the message that they are receiving is what is more important. Because they automatically, by default, get stuck or are put in between the parents. If a child is not performing or behaving in a manner that you expect them to, them taking on the blame for their behavior getting in the way of causing problems, getting in the way of the friction between the two of you, that is something that the child is going to take on. And that's what I mean by them getting caught in the crossfire. So it's not the actual separation, because if a separation is done in a way that's in a manner that's pleasing to Allah, with respect and fairness and kindness, then it's not going to weigh heavily or have negative repercussions for your child. So it's not just about telling them, but it's about showing them, and it's about the messages, the nonverbal messages that are coming across to your child based on how you interact with each other. And the bottom line is that if you interacted with each other in the marriage in a not very healthy way, that it's leading to divorce, then you're going to have to find another way to interact with them during the separation and afterwards, because you can't just wash your hands of them. And so this is what is termed by going from a marital relationship to a parental relationship. So you're leaving behind all of the baggage. And yes, before you ask, is that possible to do? Of course it's possible to do. It's impossible to do if you don't get help and support, because you don't know anything different than you already know, because if you did, you'd already be doing it, and you wouldn't be, in this high conflict state. So that was number one on so kids not being caught in the crossfire of your conflict. Need to hold them again?
I have to fix something.
Okay, come back here. The second thing is a child being, sorry about the helicopter noise. A child has to feel safe and has to feel like they have permission to have a deep and meaningful relationship with each parent. Meaning, what do I mean by that? That means that if the child feels conflicted, that if I relate to my other parent, then the other parent will feel threatened, will get mad, will get angry, And if you're feeling threatened, or if you're comparing yourself, or insecure about your child having a relationship, or whatever relationship they have, if they have a good one with the other parent, that is causing you to feel any sort of way, that is going to be communicated to your child. That is going to come out in your interactions with your child. So that is going to make the child feel like they're responsible for your feelings, and then they will adjust themselves and they will cope in a way where they are pushing away the parent that they feel the safety with, and that they don't have to try hard to have a relationship with, and they will go after the parent that is less, is more insecure and more unstable in terms of their emotional well-being and what's going on, in terms of, if that parent is putting, nonverbal pressure, or putting, based on how their feelings are just getting spilled out onto the child, that's going to put additional pressure on the child, especially the eldest child, to basically conform in a way where they're pulling away from the parent, from the other parent, to make the parent that is is not emotionally stable when it comes to them dealing with their own feelings about the conflict, about the separation, and about whatever you're dealing with, because they're trying to manage their parents' feelings and they're trying to fix things. So then they're not going to have a deep and meaningful relationship with the parent that they're pushing away, and they will have a performative relationship with the parent whose feelings they feel they have to manage, because that's what kids do. They just take that on. So those are the two things that children really need. They need to not be put in the middle of your conflict, number one, and number two is they need to have a deep and meaningful relationship with each parent. And this is exactly what I teach in my course, Co-Parenting and Communication Post-Divorce, because it's so important, as you've heard me just talk about. You have to find a new way. You have to go from a marital relationship to a parental relationship, and all of that is going to not take time, which a lot of people think that it does. It takes consciousness, and that's what we're here to build. If this interests you, if it sounds like it would be helpful for you, message me and let me know in the comments. Send me a private message. I'm going to drop the link here with the course, so if you'd like to know more about it. And you know what? If this is something that interests you, whether you're listening to it live or whether you're listening to it on the replay, I want you to, drop a comment or message me saying interested. And if that's the case, then I'll send you a coupon code to sign up for this course that is going to help you help yourself and your children. And if you just, are struggling with this and you want to go deeper in this, send me a message and we'll hop on a call and we can talk, go deeper into this topic amongst many other topics that I talk about in helping your child to thrive. So thanks for listening, and I will follow up on your takeaways. I want to hear about your questions and your comments to know more about this course. Take care. Peace and blessings.